And meanwhile, here in Lincoln, we were under a tornado warning about an hour and a half ago, and we've seen some heavy rain for several hours now.
Yeah, it caused brief flooding near 48th and Highway 2, but that's cleared. Now police are concerned about 9th and R Streets. Tell them Josh Collins is live in that area. Josh?
Hey guys, well this is kind of one of those tricky areas with water on the roads here. This water here may not look like it's that deep. It has in fact gone down a little bit since we've been out here for the last 10 or 15 minutes. We're right under the overpass at 9th and R Street, just about a block away from us, a block southwest. There's the Courtyard Marriott, and then a couple blocks south is the Holiday Inn Hotel. Now the water's maybe only a couple of inches. Cars have been able to get through it okay, but there's not very good lighting over here. So we've received the tip that it could be kind of a dicey situation. It's something to definitely keep an eye out for if you happen to drive in this area. We're continuing to monitor it. Again, it looks like some of the water has gone down. In fact, it's fallen a little bit under the curb right now, but again, we'll keep an eye on this. Cars seem to be getting through right now, but we'll keep you updated. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
That was Josh Collins reporting from inside his car at that flood scene. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do on the fly. Thank you, Josh.
Pete Ricketts flew over some of the areas that took the worst hit during last night's storm.
He says he is now declaring a state of emergency. Lawrence Scott is live in the studio with more.
John and Taryn, I met up with Governor Ricketts after his helicopter landed earlier today. This is the governor's first major storm while in office, and he says he is definitely relieved no one was hurt. The governor flew over Hebron, Deschler, and Roseland, 3 towns hit the worst by last night's storm. Crews are still working to restore power to these areas. The tornado landed in Roseland, causing the worst damage. It left 2 homes destroyed and 8 others damaged. The governor says he was able to see the tornado's destructive path while flying over the area.
It started south of town and started moving in a northeasterly direction. And so we saw a house that had been damaged outside of town, and then moving into town, we saw a few buildings that had been damaged there as well.
The governor says the town of Deschler received the worst flooding overnight. As of right now, he isn't sure if any crops were damaged in the storm, but that is something that will be monitored as the cleanup continues. Now, NEMA is currently working with the state agencies to provide assistance to all of these areas. The governor also wants to remind everyone to remain safe during severe weather season, especially staying away from down power line areas near flooded areas.
Okay, Lawrence Scott reporting. Thank you.
Well, the flooding we just showed you is stopping some people, whether they're getting stuck or stopping at the barricades to take photos. Television's Alice Klein-Peter spoke to a Lincoln man who was surprised to see such high waters.
In the distance, you can see a car submerged in water.
Last night, deputies were waist deep or better, trying to get people out of cars in the 25th and Saltillo area.
People in Lincoln are seeing the aftermath of Wednesday night's storm. This is near 27th, just past Rokeby. The stuck car is an even bigger reminder. Don't put yourself in harm's way by coming too close to any of these roads that are flooded, and definitely don't go through them. That hasn't stopped people from coming up and down this road just to take photos and see the flooding for themselves.
I've never seen water up this high before, so just kind of taking pictures wherever I can get to, I guess.
Brian Watkins has been making his way across town to see the damage.
I went by Holmes Lake earlier today, walked around there. Holmes is really bad. I went by 14th Street, took some pictures up there.
And the road he would take today to pick up supplies for a job was blocked.
I'm not even attempting to go to work today.
Across town, flooding has closed a number of roads. And for Brian, that means business.
I guarantee our job site is a muddy mess right now, so like I said, I'm not even going to go look at it today probably.
For now, he can see the damage from a distance, his safest bet. Reporting in Lincoln, Alice Klein-Peter, 1011 News.
National Guard is currently assisting the evacuation of DeWitt, 20 miles south of Crete. Officials say Turkey Creek has completely flooded the entire town. My co-anchor Kristen Bauer sent back this video just moments ago. She talked with one woman who says the water in her front yard goes all the way up to her waist. She says she won't evacuate since she has electricity and supplies, but those who do will have a safe place to go at Tri-County High School.
We know that there's going to be an evacuation, a mandatory evacuation of the community, so we're going to start the plans of preparing for a shelter in this area.
Emergency personnel urge those who can walk to the village office, and then they will be picked up by the Nebraska National Guard personnel. Those who can't can call 402-683-4035, extension number 1.
from our studios in Lincoln. 1011 News at 6 starts now.
Water with nowhere to go takes over, flooding streets, pushing creeks to their max. The damage leaves a headache for homeowners.
Him screaming, "We have water in the basement."
To the west, it's a different kind of cleanup after storms dumped heavy rain and tornadoes ripped through communities.
It's terrible. I lost everything.
The aftermath forcing people out of their homes. And it's our top story on 1011 News at 6. Good evening, everyone. I'm Owen Jensen.
And I'm Bridget Fargen. The flooded streets and the water are a problem. We've been telling you to avoid streets just like this one in Lincoln, and it's a big enough issue. The city announced a voluntary evacuation for parts of Lincoln.
That's right. It affects the area near Salt Creek, running from Cornhusker Highway to West Van Dorn Street, 8th to Folsom Street. This is the North and South Bottoms neighborhoods. 1011's Josh Kellums is near 4th and A Streets with the latest. Josh?
It's the water, like what you can see sitting over my shoulder here, that's threatening some homes in parts of Lincoln, forcing homeowners to consider whether they should stay in their house or leave. Water is already sitting about 100 feet from dozens of Lincoln homes. Many of the people I spoke to say they had absolutely no idea there was a voluntary evacuation. One of them found out while their daughter was on Facebook. Roads in and out of some areas are being blocked by city crews, but most people say they're not going anywhere.
Right now, I know this place is flooded, and back of us, but they have this all blocked off. It's like a couple feet down.
The city says they have 2 recreation centers set up for people needing places to go, one at 1225 F Street and another at the Belmont Recreation Center near 1234 Judson. One man I spoke to who says he's lived in this area near 4th and A Street for the last 9 years says that this is the worst he's ever seen flooding in his neighborhood. Reporting in Lincoln, Josh Kellums, 1011 News.
All right, Josh, thank you. Of course, the flooding is not exclusive to that part of the city. That's just one place. It's the worst near 27th and Rokeby Road.
Yeah, one car is almost fully underwater, and the road was blocked to help some drivers stop from making any bad decisions. One Lincoln man saw the barricades when he left for work this morning, but didn't realize how bad it was until he saw pictures on Facebook and saw it for himself.
The barricades were already up, and nobody was coming this way, and you look down, and because it was so early, you didn't know it was this bad. You just kind of saw a little bit of water, but just through the course of the day and coming down here in broad daylight, it's amazing. It's horrible that it happened, but it's just incredible that it's gotten this bad. I've never seen it this bad.
Now, you do need to know Highway 77 south of Lincoln to Cortland is closed because of flooding. The highway is also affected in Beatrice near the Big Blue River, along with Court Street near the same river.
Lancaster County officials say they were prepared for heavy rainfall.
Some areas you might see around town that are flooded are actually supposed to be that way. 1011's Joe McHale live at Haymarket Park with the story. Joe?
Owen and Bridget, you can see right now that I am absolutely up to my ankles in water that's covering all of Hawks Field here at Haymarket Park. I can tell you that crews have been working tirelessly since the morning to try and pump some of this out, but it's a very slow process. Now, city officials say that this is a good thing and that this was supposed to happen. A powerful Salt Creek overflows into Haymarket Park in West Lincoln Thursday. It's a view that's become a sight for spectators like Daryl Check.
This is remarkable. I run through here all the time, and I can't believe they're totally underwater. I've never seen water like this in my 9 years of being here.
But the flooding stretches across the city, from South Lincoln, where cars are submerged underwater, to the grounds of the Lancaster County Event Center.
If this had happened a decade ago, we would have had some major urban flooding in the core of Lincoln.
Director of Public Safety Tom Cassidy is talking about the Antelope Valley project. He says the floodwater is going exactly where it's supposed to.
Well, Lincoln always wanted like a river walk, so I guess they got themselves a river walk.
But Antelope Valley isn't the only design in the city that reduces the risk of flooding. Haymarket Park and this entire parking lot are covered in water. City officials say it was designed this way in order to contain water during a flooding event and keep it from going downtown.
So as the decades go by, this city gets better and better all the time in terms of protecting all our neighborhoods from floods.
With more rain in the forecast, the city is prepared, but officials say they aren't overly concerned. Now, in a city like Lincoln, designs to reduce the risk of flooding can only last for so long, and that is, of course, why you've seen some of the flooding.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's 1011's Kevin Suits.
Nebraska's baseball stadium looks more like a swimming pool tonight, and it's causing a mad scramble for the Huskers, who are scheduled to play at home this weekend. 1011's Drew White is live at Hawks Field, where, Drew, it might be doubtful that the Huskers play at home in Lincoln this weekend.
Yeah, Kevin, I'd say doubtful is probably the right word to describe it, having this series being actually played at Haymarket Park. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of standing water on Hawks Field. It's about 4 to 5 inches deep throughout the entire outfield. The infield is good, though. That is covered by a tarp. Grounds crews have been out here all day trying to pump it out, and it's been a slow process. Like I said, there's still about 4 to 5 inches. The likelihood of this series being played here right now, as you said, is probably doubtful, but head coach Darren Erstad and the Nebraska baseball program, they're doing all they can to get game 1 in here on Saturday.
Well, right now, I mean, we'll have a backup plan and a backup plan to the backup plan. Right now, you know, everybody's all hands on deck here trying to get the water off the field. We're looking at a lot of fields around here, but we're trying to find a secure place for 2 games on Saturday, somewhere to play a doubleheader, get those in, see what Sunday brings us, and you know, hopefully by Monday we can play a game here. But we're going to get these games in one way or another. Now where that's at, I don't know. You know, Garth Brooks isn't helping matters over there in Omaha. The Storm Chasers are in town as well. We have districts at some high school fields with turf, so we're extending out a little bit. But I'm not giving up hope yet that Saturday's out of the question. But right now, if you just look at it, it doesn't look very promising.
So Darren Erstad, of course, wants to get this game in. I talked to the grounds crew. They say they're going to do everything they can to get this water off the field as fast as possible. So I guess only time will tell to see where Nebraska's hosting Purdue this weekend. Reporting live from Hawks Swimming Pool, Drew White, 1011 Sports.
And if you're not dealing with flooded roads, you may be dealing with a flooded basement.
That's for sure. It's been a long day for a lot of Lincoln families drying out their homes. 1011's Casey Geraldo has the story.
I'm just throwing them away.
Okay.
It's been a long day for the Barons. Picking up, ripping up, and tossing out.
Wood toys and stuff were just thrown out.
They called around this morning to find this pump, pumping inches of water out of their basement into the street, out into a neighborhood where an open garage door means, yep, us too.
5 out of the 6 in the circle had water issues.
In fact, it was this text from their neighbor that alerted the Barons to the issue.
Our neighbor texted us at 6 in the morning and said, hey, we got a ton of water in our basement.
Salvage this carpet.
Their neighbor's wife woke up hours before the text to his realization.
Him screaming, we have water in the basement.
But Welsh went to bed knowing their basement didn't have water.
A couple hours later, 3 a.m., and it's 2-3 inches of water.
It's still seeping through cracks in the floor. But this has turned out to be a bonding experience for the neighborhood.
We're all just kind of joking about it because, I mean, we all woke up and expected a normal Thursday.
I don't think a lot will get covered by insurance, but what do? You just kind of clean up.
All right, Casey, thank you very much. Boy, what a mess that is out there. Tonight, the city of Lincoln is calling for voluntary evacuations in the north and south, the bottoms neighborhoods, north and south, and the Salt Creek. Their concern is the Salt Creek is so very high and they're not sure what's going to happen yet. Added to that, sewage treatment is now being discharged into the Salt Creek. So they're very worried. They want people to stay out of there, that's for sure. It affects the area near Salt Creek running from Cornhusker Highway to West Van Dorn Street, 8th to Folsom Street, again, the north and south bottoms neighborhoods. And I'm joined now by 1011 News reporter Josh Kellen. Josh, you've been out here all day, and what are people who live in this area talking about tonight?
Well, Owen, on one side of this overpass, you have several feet of water, and on the other side of it, just about 100 feet away, you've got homes. Now, a lot of the people I spoke to who live in this evacuation zone say that they're probably just going to stay home because they don't really have another option.
Scenes like this are all over Lincoln, some places worse than others.
It's gone down a little bit, but not too much.
Chris Connolly has lived near 4th and A Streets for 9 years, never seeing flooding this bad near his home. He's frustrated with the drainage, also saying he didn't know about the evacuation until hours after the city announced it.
They ain't worried about themselves because I'm sorry, they're probably on the other side of town where everything's built up nicely. Come on, we're in the bottoms. You know, we're the last people that anybody thinks about.
And staying or going is a hard choice.
here. Now they want us to do a volunteer evacuation. Where are we supposed to go?
2 shelters have been set up, but leaving his possessions to the will of water is hard to do, with a family and pets to consider. Unless forced, Connolly, like some of his neighbors, may just stay put.
What, load my cars up? That's all I could think of. Put everything on the top floor and hope that nothing happens. And you know what happens when you evacuate, then you get all these people that go around, hey, look, these houses are empty, let's see what we can get.
An update now for people who are wishing to leave. They can go to the F Street Recreation Center, and that's at 1225 F Street. And if they need medical attention or if they have an animal, they're asked to go there as well, as the Capital Humane Society will be taking care of those pets.
All right, thank you very much, Josh. And by the way, we're keeping a very close eye on the skies because if it rains more, if things get worse, if the Salt Creek floods over its banks, they will have a mandatory evacuation in this area, but we'll keep you up to date on that. Right now, it's just precautionary. Reporting live in Lincoln, along with Josh Kellums, Owen Jensen, 1011 News.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Nice work.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's 1011's Kevin Suits.
Typically, fans flood Haymarket Park. Today, an actual flood in the 4-inch deep waters may prevent Husker Nation from filling the seats this weekend. Nebraska is scheduled to play its final 3 home games over the next 4 days, but an overnight storm and a maxed-out drainage system could move the series elsewhere. Darren Erstad looked out at a flooded Haymarket Park on Thursday, not knowing where his team would be playing this weekend.
I'm not giving up hope yet that Saturday's out of the question, but right now, if you just look at it, it doesn't look very promising.
Erstad and the Huskers are scheduled to host Purdue at Hawks Field starting on Saturday, and at the current condition of the field, a home series looks doubtful.
We do have a drainage system on the field. Unfortunately, it drains into Salt Creek over there, and you know, when that gets to a certain height, those pumps shut off, and we're in a situation where this is where you just have nowhere for the water to go.
The Haymarket Park grounds crew is working around the clock in hopes of keeping the series in Lincoln. They were using multiple water pumps and manually filling up buckets to get water off the field. Erstad says if the series is to move, he'd like to keep it within a 2.5-hour radius of Lincoln.
We're going to get these games in one way or another. Now where that's at, I don't know. You know, Garth Brooks isn't helping matters over there in Omaha. I love him to death, but he's not helping us right now.
Erstad has been in contact with several fields across the area. He's not only trying to find a location, but he'd also like to change the schedule for the weekend. He'd prefer a Saturday doubleheader to avoid playing on Sunday when more rain is expected. For the Huskers, every game is valuable as Nebraska fights for an NCAA tournament berth. Players say they'd like one more game on their home field, especially the seniors. If the field doesn't dry up, their careers at Haymarket Park will be over.
It'll be nice to be able to play there at least once. I mean, if we can't get all 3 games in, then we'll find somewhere else to go. But yeah, one more time would be great.
Here are some of the possible venues for this weekend. Werner Park, though the Storm Chasers are at home. TD Ameritrade Park seems to be the preferred location, but Creighton is at home, and the Garth Brooks concert poses some major parking issues. Erstad says he considered Kansas State. The high school fields all seem to be out. The intriguing possibility here is Duncan Field in Hastings. It's currently open for the weekend. Kauffman Stadium, that's available, but completely a pipe dream.